the marked one. It began with a rumor, a whispered tale of a secret society that hunted individuals marked by a specific birthmark, a crescent-shaped scar on the back of the left shoulder. The story was dismissed as folklore by most, but when people with the birthmark started disappearing, the fear became palpable. Jenna had always dismissed the stories. She was a skeptic by nature, someone who found comfort in logic and reason. She had grown up with the birthmark on her shoulder, but it had never caused her any trouble. To her, it was just a peculiar but harmless blemish, nothing more. The first sign of trouble came on an ordinary Thursday. Jenna received an anonymous letter, postmarked from an address she didn't recognize. The letter was written in a scrawling, almost frantic handwriting. "You are marked. They are coming for you. Leave now before it's too late." Jenna laughed it off, thinking it was a prank or a mistake. But as the days went by, she couldn't shake the sense of dread that had settled over her. The letter had mentioned something that seemed too specific to be a mere coincidence. She decided to look into it. Her search led her to a series of unsettling stories. People who had vanished without a trace, all sharing one thing in common: a crescent-shaped birthmark. The more she read, the more she realized that the disappearances weren't random but part of a larger, sinister pattern. The story spoke of a shadowy group, known only as the Watchers, who believed the marked individuals were cursed and hunted them as part of a ritualistic purge. Jenna's unease grew when she found an online forum dedicated to discussing the mysterious disappearances. The posts were filled with speculation and fear, many detailing sightings of strange, hooded figures and encounters with individuals claiming to be from the society. The forum's final post, written in a frantic tone, read, "The Watchers are real. I saw them. They're coming for me. If you have the mark, run. Run far away." The next day, Jenna received another letter. This one was different. It was more ominous, more urgent. The message was simple: "They are closer than you think. Your time is running out." Panic set in. Jenna began to notice things she hadn't before: strange people watching her from across the street, vehicles that seemed to follow her wherever she went. Her phone rang incessantly, but when she answered, there was only silence on the other end. Her sense of normalcy had been shattered, and the fear of being hunted turned her life into a nightmare. She reached out to a friend, Mark, who was a private investigator. Mark was skeptical at first, but agreed to help after seeing the evidence Jenna had gathered. Together, they began to investigate the origins of the Watchers, hoping to find a way to protect Jenna. Their investigation led them to a remote, abandoned mansion on the outskirts of town. According to the forum, this was believed to be the headquarters of the Watchers. Jenna and Mark approached the mansion with trepidation. The place was dilapidated, overgrown with weeds and ivy. The windows were boarded up, and an air of foreboding hung over the property. As they entered the mansion, they were struck by a chilling silence. The interior was dusty and decayed, with cobwebs hanging from the ceiling and old, rotting furniture scattered about. Jenna's heart raced as they moved through the darkened rooms, the feeling of being watched growing stronger with each step. In the mansion's basement, they discovered a hidden chamber filled with eerie, ritualistic symbols and strange artifacts. There were old, tattered documents that detailed the history of the Watchers and their belief in the cursed nature of the birthmark. The documents spoke of an ancient ritual performed to rid the world of those marked by the crescent-shaped scar, a ritual believed to bring balance to a world threatened by dark forces. As they were poring over the documents, the door to the basement slammed shut, and the lights flickered ominously. Jenna and Mark turned to see shadowy figures emerging from the darkness, hooded and menacing, their faces obscured. The Watchers had found them. The figures moved swiftly, encircling Jenna and Mark. Jenna's fear reached a fever pitch as she realized that their presence was not just a coincidence. They were part of the ritualistic hunt. The figures carried torches and symbols of their cult, their eyes cold and unfeeling. In a desperate attempt to escape, Jenna and Mark ran through the mansion, the Watchers hot on their heels. They could hear the chant of the Watchers growing louder, a haunting melody that seemed to reverberate through the walls. The mansion's labyrinthine layout seemed to trap them, with every turn leading to dead ends and darkened corridors. As they reached the mansion's upper floor, Jenna spotted a window that led to the outside. With Mark's help, she managed to break the glass and climb out onto the roof. They raced across the roof, jumping down into the overgrown garden below. The Watchers, however, were relentless, and Jenna could hear their footsteps growing nearer. The chase led them through the dense forest surrounding the mansion. Jenna's exhaustion was palpable, her breath coming in ragged gasps. Mark, ever the protector, kept a watchful eye on their pursuers, but the forest was treacherous, filled with hidden dangers and shadows. Finally, they stumbled upon an old, dilapidated cabin deep in the woods. They took refuge inside, barricading the door with whatever they could find. The cries of the Watchers outside were muffled but persistent. Jenna and Mark huddled together, trying to catch their breath. As the night wore on, the sounds of the Watchers faded. Jenna and Mark dared to peek outside, but the forest was silent, and the Watchers had seemingly disappeared. They spent a restless night in the cabin, their fear of being found never truly fading. In the morning, Jenna and Mark made their way back to town, their ordeal having left them shaken. The mansion was abandoned, its secrets buried once more. Jenna's birthmark, once a simple blemish, had become a symbol of her narrow escape from a nightmarish fate. Though they were safe for now, Jenna and Mark knew that the threat was not entirely gone. The Watchers' pursuit had revealed the depth of their malevolence and the darkness that lay beneath the surface of the world. The marked ones were not simply hunted, they were part of a ritualistic tradition that spanned generations, a sinister legacy that defied explanation. Jenna's life had been irrevocably changed. The birthmark that had once been a mere curiosity now served as a constant reminder of the horror she had endured. And though she had escaped the clutches of the Watchers, the fear of their return lingered, a dark shadow that haunted her every step. The mansion in the woods remained a chilling reminder of the night Jenna and Mark narrowly escaped a fate worse than death. The story of the Watchers became a cautionary tale, a whisper of fear in the darkness, and a reminder of the hidden dangers that sometimes lie just beneath the surface of our world. And as the years went by, Jenna's birthmark remained, a haunting symbol of the night she faced the unknown and survived, leaving behind a legacy of fear that would never truly be forgotten.